What is going on, Cuse Nation, and welcome to yet another edition of Orange Sheet. This is our first ever live stream here on Orange Sheet, and I'm very excited to have you guys. This is something I've been wanting to do. I finally feel like we have enough personnel to do so. We had the comments flying in on Instagram. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but first, I just wanted to take the time to talk about the direction the show is going. I'm planning to do even more with this show. It's exciting. Football and basketball season are coming up. We know what that means. We're going to have the previews, the predictions. Guys, share this with your friends. Like, comment, and subscribe because every little bit helps. We want to get this big audience. We don't know how many Cuse fans are out there. I know there's a lot, but let's get them watching. And if not, if we have to expand to other sports, it's not what I want to do, but we'll do so to get this thing as big as possible. So, guys, share this out there. Let's get this thing going. And tell me what you guys want to see. I think I might do a vlog when I go down to Maryland for the SU football game. I might do a vlog of the trip, things like that. If you guys want to see different kind of content, let me know. Leave it in the comments because we want to know what you want. And it's really exciting. And I'm happy to have you here, guys. Now, let's take a look at what some people have to say. I told people to leave their comments, leave their questions, concerns, anything like that. And we're going to dive into all that and talk SU football, basketball, whatever people are talking about. More so here, put it in these comment section, and we'll dive into that as well. All right, let's see what people have to say here. First, I put up a poll, and on Instagram, I've said record predictions for this upcoming football season's 2019 Syracuse football. The options were 11-1 or better with an ACC championship in there. 10-2, 9-3, or 8 or less wins. So right here we have our results as of right now, and 11 and 1 or better got 15% of the votes. 10-2 had 50% of the votes. So that's one more win than last year when you're talking the regular season. So that's exciting that Syracuse fans have some faith there. 9-3 had 30% of the votes, and 8 or less wins had 5% of the votes. So I don't know who's out there. I could see possibly 8 wins. I don't see any less than that. 8 wins would be so. I feel like something would have to happen to see 8 wins, like a significant injury. Whether it's one of our running backs or in the secondary or on the defensive line, or if Tommy gets out, that's another ball game. But I really, my prediction, as you saw, was 11-1. I think this team is ready to take that next step. Dino's getting his guys in. He's building his system. I really don't think you're going to see a drop like that significant down below 8 wins just because we have better personnel. We have another year of experience, another year of strength and conditioning. See, we got our first comment. Lorenzo says, hello, Lorenzo. How are you? Leave something to talk about here, and we'll dive into it. I appreciate you coming out and watching. As I was saying, though, something dramatic would have to happen to drop below 8 wins. I could definitely see 10. I could see as low as 9 the same season as last year, but I don't think you're going to go below 8 just because, first off, the schedule is arguably one of the easiest in the country. I mean, name a team on there that, Syracuse is not going to be favored against besides Clemson. So, I mean, Florida State on the road, maybe, depending on where they are at that point in the season. But I really don't think anybody is going to, give Syracuse that much difficulty as far as the spread goes and as far as the predictions beforehand go, where it would leave people to believe we're going to lose a ton of games. So we got our first question here. All right. Lorenzo says we should touch on the coaching staff and how they have affected our team. Fantastic question, my friend. This is a question I was hoping somebody was going to ask. There's a lot to talk about here. I'm going to say it flat out. The coaching staff is absolutely huge. The coaching staff is everything for this football team because you had a program before that was in a little bit of a rut for years and years. It was in a rut. You could say the Doug Marrone era was a little bit of a different story. I get it, but you were never ranked. You were never in that huge conversation for being a competitive, highest level, top tier college football team. And we're finally in that discussion. And the college football world is changing. And we're seeing that in the play style that's going on, in how quarterbacks are used. You're seeing it in a lot of different ways here. So the coaching staff is everything. Dino Babers came in here, and the biggest thing about Dino Babers and this coaching staff is the culture. I was listening to an interview on Tyler Morona's podcast with strength and conditioning coach Sean Ettinger, and he, unlike a lot of the strength and conditioning coaches around the country, he's not just, I might not say it in his job description, but he is not just there to get guys strong and fast, and he's there to do that, but he's there to do so much more. He's a mentor, and he's really almost like a psychological coach. He maintains a lot of the psychology of the football team as to what kind of mentality they're going to have. I mean, you saw, if anybody has watched that show La Familia, it's on YouTube. You should definitely give it a look. SU puts it out. And if you saw it, he had them running steps in the dome, right? Something that every football team typically does, running stairs, simple. But you're in the dome, and he had him look over the railing, and he said 6-0 in this place. 6-0, undefeated at home. You own this place. And that puts the charisma, that puts psychology into the players' heads. Like, this is our home. Nobody comes in here and, they're not going to walk out the same that they walked in here. And the football team has that belief. And that's because it has been instilled by the coaching staff. Dino Babers knows what he's doing. He knows how to scheme an offense. Fantastic at it. I can't wait to see what he's going to do with Tommy. It's going to be different than it was with Dungy, and that's so exciting. You're going to see more of a, not an air raid attack necessarily, but a lot of deep passes, a lot of quick passes, because Tommy has that arm strength. You're going to see less, cute quarterback run pass option type thing. So we'll see what happens there. But the coaching staff is absolutely everything. Luke Segroy hopped on here. He said, "Hola, how's it going? Leave something for us to talk about. I can't wait to hear what you're thinking on this Syracuse football team. Or we could talk basketball, whatever you guys want to get into. But back to the coaching staff, it's everything, and it's exciting because these guys are experienced, and I think they're underrated. Underappreciated at the places they were before, such as Bowling Green, and then Eastern Illinois, Baylor. These guys have all stayed together. Sean Ettinger's been with Dino Babers for like 10 years now. So the coaching staff's everything. They're fantastic. They're what we needed. The city loves them. Syracuse fans love them. And as long as we can keep them around, pay them more money, they're going to be here. And I think they love it here. The players love having them. It's everything. They made a culture while sticking to the same tradition of Syracuse football and everything. And let's see, Lorenzo has a question here. What do you think about the running back position? Who will start? Well, Lorenzo, I can tell you right now that excuse me. the the depth chart came out, and sorry about that, guys. The depth chart came out a couple weeks ago, and then another one actually dropped this morning, and it really just drove home the fact that Mo Neal will be the one back. I think Mo Neal deserves it. He is your senior back. He rushed quietly for about 800, mid 800. It was like 846 or something like that yards last season. He caught quite a few passes as well for about 120 yards on the season. So Mo Neal for sure is the one back right now. And Abdul Adams is going to get carries. I think the two of them are going to split carries. And Jarvian Howard is going to be your goal line red zone back when you need that first down, you need that extra bit of yardage, when you need that touchdown on the goal line. Jarvian Howard's going to be your man for that. So the three of them are each going to get their fair share. Mo Neal is the starter right now. I think Abdul Adams is going to get just about the same amount of carries, and then Jarvian Howard's going to put it in the end zone. So simple as that. Unfortunately, Mo's not going to get as many touchdowns because of the situation. That's going to really go to Jarvion unless he's breaking like 20-yard or more touchdowns. Really inside the red zone, it's going to be Jarvion's territory. So that's exciting, and that's a great question. And yeah, Mo Neal's going to be your one back right now. Luke Segroy says, let's talk about lacrosse and how Desco is on the hot seat. Okay, I want to be careful here because I am a lacrosse player, and you just never know, when opportunities are going to come. I'm not saying I'm going to play lacrosse at Syracuse or anything, but, you got to be careful with what you say. On the hot seat, I don't know if he's necessarily on the hot seat because of what he's done in the past, but as a fan, I can say that, a change in scenery might be nice. It's kind of a situation where it's what have you done for me now? What are you doing for me now? What have you done for me recently? And the answer to that is really nothing. We haven't won an ACC championship since 2016. Okay, we haven't been to championship weekend since 2013, and we haven't won a national championship in now it's going to be over 10 years this season since 2009. So, what have you done for me now? Kind of situation, um, I think you're gonna see a change fairly soon if things don't get going. You saw Coach Donahue, his assistant coach for a long, long time, just retired. So that could be a little bit of a hint at what's to come. I don't have a full answer for you there exactly, but I do think that Syracuse could benefit from a new coach. I think that the game has changed so much, recruiting has changed so much, even in just the last 10 years, 5 years even. There's so many more good schools out there that it's just different. And I don't know if he can keep up. It's kind of like a Jim Boeheim situation where the basketball world has changed and the game has changed and their styles don't necessarily fit anymore. And recruiting's gotten harder. So we'll see what happens. Great question, though. Uh, DJ says, Sup, what is the biggest position gap in the depth chart? If you're talking Syracuse football, 100% the linebacker position, unfortunately. Second to that would be the offensive line, but I think we have a fantastic team. I think the linebackers, the only gap there is that they're young. I don't even consider it that bad of a gap. I think they'll be better than last year. Just might take them a couple games to catch their stride a little bit, but you got Michael Jones in there. He's a freshman. Andrew Armstrong, he's returning from last year. I think he's very underrated and very good. He had a couple fumble forced last year, and he had a interception, a big one against North Carolina State. So I'd say the linebackers position is the biggest gap, which is unfortunate because when you're playing a team like Clemson, they're gonna try and run it down your throat with Travis Etienne. So it's exciting. And I think second would be the offensive line, just because of what's returning and what you lost. Evan Adams is back. Aaron Cervais is back. You have some new guys in there like Ryan Alexander. So I think we're going to be just fine. It's just going to be a matter of how they can work together cohesively because offensive line is a position where you need to basically know what the guy next to you is thinking at all times. You need to know his move before he knows his move, basically. And the offensive line is going to be crucial to the success of the offense because we want to get the run game going, but we also want to, let Tommy experiment with his arm. So really, in order to do that, though, you need to get your run game going. So it's definitely the linebackers and the offensive line. But I don't think there's a bad. I mean, if you watched my last video, we graded each position. I don't think there's a bad position on this team, but those are probably the biggest gaps. But good question there. All right. Someone says, who is your favorite breakout candidate on the basketball team? This is tough. If you're listening, throw it in there. What do you mean by that? Do you mean incoming freshmen or just in general? Because if you're talking as a whole, I'd have to say Buddy Boeheim, just because of what he showed he can do at the end of last season. He's only going to get better. What he showed he can do. Okay, he did say anybody on the team. So, yeah, I'm going to say Buddy Boeheim because of what he showed he can do last season, as well as what he showed he can do in Italy, which I'm going to do a video and get into that probably later today. Talk about the Italy trip a lot and Syracuse basketball is your takeaways from that trip and everything like that. But I'd have to say Buddy Boeheim. He's a deadly shooter. He can drive the ball. So that's definitely really exciting. If I'm talking freshman, it's got to be. This is tough. Everybody can break out. I think Brahma Sidibe is going to be huge at the center position, and he's not a freshman. He's a returner. Um, you know, someone just said thoughts on Joe Girard, which I was going to get to. Joe Girard, for sure. I think he's going to be the next Jerry McNamara, to be quite honest. He can drive, he can shoot, he can play defense. He's small, but he's quick, and he has that, chip on his shoulder. He's playing with that confidence that, he could take on the college basketball world and take them by storm. I don't know if it's going to be in his first year necessarily. I think he'll do damage in his first year. But once you get a little bit later, sophomore, junior season, Joe Girard's going to be scary. Someone said thoughts on Quincy Guerrier. Yeah, I was going to get into that as well. Quincy played amazing in Italy. He has a very mature body compared to some of the other freshmen. He's just built a lot better. He's kind of a freak, honestly, when it comes to his athletic ability. He's going to get up. He's going to get a lot of rebounds, a lot of dunks, a lot of blocks. He's exciting to watch play. He can shoot the ball. Quincy Guerrier is going. They're all going to break out. The exciting thing about this team breaking out is I can't really pinpoint one guy because they're all young. They're all new. And besides really Sidibe, they're in Elijah Hughes, I guess. He only has one season under his belt. They're kind of inexperienced, which it could be alarming, but I think it's exciting because look at the national championship team. Most of them, were really young. So that's exciting. And I think that you could honestly make an argument for each guy being a breakout star going into this season. What's going on? Cuse edits. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. That's cool to see you on here, man. Leave something for me to talk about here. That's exciting right there. Let's see. Thoughts on O'Shea leaving for the NBA? O'Shea, okay. It's okay right now. It's okay because I feel like would rather not have him right now. I feel like that sounds a little bit harsh, but I'd rather not have him right now because what we have building here, they're so young, and I wouldn't want that ego to get in the way because I don't think we have a single guy on the roster that is, has their sights set on the NBA. I mean, they all do, obviously, but I don't think that, I don't think anybody but Elijah maybe thinks they're going to the NBA after this season. And I think that's good because we can build a college basketball team and we can be competitive in the ACC. And I think we're doing away with seeing the, one guy, tries that ISO and, you're going to see more ball movement, no more Tyus Battle, no more O'Shea. And I'm okay with it. I was a little bit disappointed when I heard he was leaving. I understand he had a fantastic combine. All in all, though, I think O'Shea, we don't need him really, especially because he kind of sloped, last year. I don't think he should have left for his own sake, but I think we're going to be just fine, and I'm excited to see what this team's going to do without him. I guess that sounds terrible, but love O'Shea. Go Cuse. Rooting for him for sure. Going to watch some Raptors games if he's on the floor. But for the sake of this team, I think it's more exciting to see what a new squad's going to do type situation. Thoughts on O'Shea getting cut from the Canadian national team? I mean, there's a lot of fantastic players in Canada. Only 10 guys are going to make that roster. That could depend on how well you play one day. And then, it's kind of up to perception. And, it is what it is. He has, a spot right now with the Toronto Raptors. And I think that's what his main focus is going to be. What fantasy leagues are you in, and who is the biggest fantasy sleeper, bust, breakout, underrated? Okay, Luke, I'm going to try and keep it to Cuse here just because that is the show. I appreciate the question. I can touch on it real quick. I'm in 2 fantasy leagues. I'm in a big one with my family. It's pretty legit. It's expensive as all heck. Thanks, Uncle Joe. But, it's cool because you carry over your team each year and you add college freshmen on your team actually, and they go through. You don't score any points with them in college, but you pick up college players, and you actually go through, and then they become on your pro team where you score points. And yeah, actually, Lorenzo on here, we share a team together. Polski Power. That's our name because we are both Polish, and that is our fantasy football team name. Biggest fantasy sleeper, Baker Mayfield. I have him on my other league, which I didn't get to. It's actually Syracuse fan page fantasy football league, which is really cool. Cuse Edits is in there. So he's my biggest sleeper. Bust. Oh, geez, I don't know. Andrew Luck, because he just dipped. So people are probably ticked about that. Breakout, you know, Baker Mayfield. Okay, Baker Mayfield would be breakout. Sleeper would be the tight end there, Joku, for the Cleveland Browns. Underrated, Cooper Kupp from Los Angeles. How do we donate to the channel? Dude, I appreciate that so much. I'm not really people. People have said start a Patreon or whatever. Get donations, but I appreciate that. I'm not really looking for that. I'm just doing this because I love it, and I love talking SU sports, and I love nothing. This is what I want to do as my career. I'm doing this. Hopefully, it'll get me into college someday, and someday soon. And I don't want donations. The biggest donation you could do is right now. You're on here on the live stream, in the middle of the day, and we're talking Q Sports, which I couldn't appreciate more. What is your dream team starting lineup for Syracuse basketball? Oh, God. Starting lineup? You're having me narrow it down to 5 guys. Wow. Okay, well, half of them are going to be back here on this beautiful wall of basketball cards here. I'd have to put the Pearl Washington in there. Billy Owens would have to be in there. Derek Coleman at the 2 guard spot. That's tough. Probably Jerry. I'm gonna go Jerry McNamara, and then he's underrated, I think. And then one more guy. You have your center and your power forward. Who do I need? A small Mello. You got to go Mello, I guess, and that's really tough, because there's so many. I mean, I wanted to put Sherman Douglas in there. I wanted to put Ronnie Cycli in there. I wanted to put John Wallace in there. I wanted to. Honestly, it's tough though because I never got to watch any of those guys at all. So it doesn't really apply. I mean, I know how good they were. I've seen some highlights, but I didn't get to watch them on a week in, week out basis. So for me, mine would actually be something like Michael Carter Williams, Fab Mello, Jeremy Grant, Dion Waiters, and Tyus Battle? No, not Tyus. But you get what I'm saying. I never really got to watch those guys, so that's like an all-time. But so it has a different feel. Arinze Onuaku, as somebody said in here, fantastic, love. But again, I never really got to watch him. I was like 4 when he played in 2009. But we probably would have won the national championship that year if he didn't get hurt. Keep coming with some questions. I should make an Instagram page. I thought about it, but to be quite honest, on my personal page, I do all my promoting, and I have like 1,500 followers on there. So I just don't really feel a need. Let's see. I feel bad. There's some other people here that have been asking stuff on Instagram. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Someone said, "Are you going to the Maryland game?" I am going to the Maryland game. Yes, I'm very excited to go down to Maryland and watch the Syracuse football game down there. Very excited. This is a good one. Syracuse.247 on Instagram. Give him a follow. Fantastic fan page. He shares a lot of good stuff. Said, "Do you think Tommy DeVito could be a dark horse for the Heisman?" This is exciting. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I do think he can. And the thing with that is he's got a dynamic arm. He's got a fantastic group of receivers around him. The kid can sling the football, and he has this confidence about him that's really exciting. You can tell he has a confidence in his abilities, which makes all the difference. They've gotten him bigger, stronger, faster. The strength and conditioning staff. I think Tommy DeVito could be a sleeper for the Heisman Trophy. Now, I'm not saying this year. I think that you might see that next year, the year after, because you got to think we have Tommy for 3 more years, which is amazing. Um, so we have him this year and 2 years after this. So he's only a redshirt sophomore. So yeah, I think by the time his career is done, you could see him on a Heisman finalist list, sitting there in that Heisman room, waiting to hear if his name gets called or not. Yeah, I think so, and I think this year, it could happen because of the group of receivers he has right now. Question is he going to get as many possessions as far as like Syracuse defense forced a lot of turnovers last year, just like how that's going to all work out. Cause I think the defense, we'll see what happens. But great question. I love that question. Yeah. I think Tommy DeVito for sure could be a Heisman dark horse. Absolutely. That's an exciting question. I like that a lot. Let's see what else people have to say. More and more they're coming. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to all these, to be quite honest with you. Let's see. 44 Syracuse 44. I've chatted with him back and forth a few times. Great fan page. Go check him out. He's got highlights, inside statistics, insight. He's got a lot of good stuff on here. Definitely, go check him out. 44 Syracuse 44. He's a good dude. He's got a couple great questions on here that we can dive into. All right. He says, "What are your thoughts on the Clemson game if we enter in a as opposed? Okay, what are your thoughts on the Clemson game if we enter 1-1 as opposed to 2-0?" Fantastic question. I'm seeing you guys are flowing with different questions here. I'm going to get to those. I just want to hit these real quick. Fantastic question there about the Clemson game. I think it doesn't have the same effect. Simply put that way, if you come into that game with a loss, the hype's gone. You're no longer two undefeated teams. You're no longer. I mean, you're still competing for the ACC Atlantic, because if Syracuse loses, it has nothing to do with their ACC conference record. But the actual hype is gone. At that point, the fan base isn't as excited about it. College game day probably won't come if we had lost a game at that point. I think if you're going to lose a game, it's going to be on the road at Maryland. I think that's going to be a tougher game than people are expecting. New coach over there. The hype's gone, and I think the team's going to have a different attitude about the game. I'm not saying they're not going to try, but it's harder to you'd have to win out at that point to have a shot at the playoffs, and you'd have to win every single ACC game, and it's tough. It's tough. And Maryland gives teams like Ohio State fits last year. So they're no joke. Liberty's not bad either. Could you discuss ticket numbers? Okay. If College game day will be there, overall excitement. Well, ticket numbers for the Clemson game, they have exceeded season ticket sales this year in Syracuse football history, which is fantastic. The most season ticket sales ever. And regular game tickets for the Clemson game are completely sold out. You'd have to go to StubHub or something. If College game day will be there, if College game day is going to be there, I believe, as long as we can win the first 2 ball games. And overall excitement, dude, I'm pumped. 5 days away, baby. 5 days away. Saturday kickoff, 6 p.m. ESPN Plus. Syracuse taking on Liberty. I cannot wait. You have no idea. Let's see. He's asking if you have any idea how Maryland is. Strengths, weaknesses. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna dive into that in my Maryland preview, because I think I'm gonna do a special. I'm gonna do it like in Maryland, in the hotel room or something. Something cool like that, or like at the tailgate, do your preview and prediction for that game. So I'm gonna save that. But I think Maryland's good and they're deadly, and I'm gonna save that. Cuse, 44 Syracuse 44. But that's a great question. I appreciate those, man. Keep them coming. Let's see. Someone says, "Hope the live stream is going well." Going very well. Thank you. Going well, thank you. Hop on. Cool. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying. How do you feel about Eton Thomas, dude? I don't even know if I have to dive into that. Come on now. Rank Syracuse fan pages. I can't do that, guys. Come on now. I love them all. I support them all. I follow them all. I chat with them pretty much all. Talk about Q Sports. They're all great guys. They all do a great job with what they do. They all bring something different to the table. They all have different things to offer. I'm in a group chat with all of them. So all you guys out there, appreciate you, love you, but I cannot rank you guys. I don't even know how I would start. You guys all have something, you all bring different specialties. Do you think Abdul Adams will be one of the best running backs we've had in a while? Yeah, but that's if he gets his chance. Dino's really good at giving guys their chance. Um, but think about this: Mo Neal this year, right? And he's gonna split carries with Abdul, I think, but Mo Neal's the one back. And then after that, you have Abdul for like about a year, and then you got to see what he can do in that year because after that, it's Jarvie and Howard's time. And I think honestly, I think Jarvian Howard has a higher ceiling than Abdul because he has more time to develop within the system. I think Jarvian's actually better. I think he's faster, stronger. Just across the table, he has a higher ceiling. So could Abdul be one of the best ever? I mean, yeah, because or best we've had in a while, as your question says. Yeah, he can. He'd have to rush for about over 1,000 yards to be considered that, and he'd have to do a pretty darn good job. I have the faith he can do it. It just depends when his moment's going to be because I think Jarvian's going to be the one back 2 years from now. Mo Neal's the one back this year. So it all depends on if he's given the right situation and opportunity. Unfortunately, we're so deep at that position. I don't really know, if he's going to get all the burn he would if he was a straightforward one back. It's not going to be like a Boston College situation where AJ Dillon gets every single carry. We're too deep for that. So in a while, yeah, but best ever, I don't know. That's a good question. Because you got to think we got Jawar Jordan coming up too after Jarvion. He's a freshman this year, probably going to redshirt. But great question. I love Abdul. I'm excited to see what he can do, but I'm a high on Jarvian Howard. I think Jarvian Howard ultimately is going to be the best running back we've had in a long time. What is your favorite Syracuse? Okay. What is your favorite Syracuse moment ever? Whoa. Wow. Okay. I'm going to give you a top 3. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Beating Virginia was definitely huge. To go to the Final Four, beating them in the Elite Eight that year. They were the 1 seed. We were the 10 seed. Michael Benajay, Trevor Cooney. Fantastic. That was definitely one of my fondest memories ever. You got to think, guys. My memory doesn't span back too far. I've only been watching Q Sports. I've been watching them forever, but I can only remember, so far back type thing, where I really paid attention. So definitely that. Honestly, beating Michigan State to go to the Sweet 16 was really nice too. I love that. Number 1 is beating Clemson at the Dome. Good God, I was there, and it was amazing. And it was the loudest I've ever heard the Carrier Dome in my entire life. Nothing's even come close. It was like the loudest and most exciting moment, honestly, in my entire life. So definitely beating Clemson at the Dome was my favorite memory ever. It was amazing. Put aside the Cuse fan for a sec. What do you think Cuse can do in the Clemson game? Good question. I think Syracuse has a better shot than anybody in the country, anybody in the ACC to beat Clemson. And I'm putting my fandom aside. You have a good quarterback. He's young and inexperienced. That's going to come into play a little bit. Syracuse defense is top 5 in the country. Kid you not. The secondary is incredible. The defensive line is very, very good. That's good. You have elite wide receivers at Clemson going up against elite secondary at Syracuse. You're going to have an Andre Cisco, a Trill Williams, Scoop Bradshaw, Evan Foster, Christopher Frederick, Anton Cordy, matching up the likes against T. Higgins, Amari Rogers, and Justin Ross. Excited. You got a great quarterback and a fantastic running back in Travis Etienne. So how do I think Syracuse is gonna do? I think they're gonna play him right to the wire. They haven't given me a reason to show that they didn't do it. They did it twice before, won one of those games. We're even better now. Why couldn't we do it now? So that's putting my fandom aside. I think you're gonna see a game go to the wire. Who's gonna win? There's no telling. My bias says Syracuse, but we'll see what happens. Don't get me wrong, Clemson is the most talented team in the country right now, without a doubt. The thing with them is their defensive line. I'm curious about that. They lose everybody, and I think Syracuse is going to exploit that really, really well. Do you think that Dino Babers is the best coach we've had yet? Touch on how special it is to have a coach that electric. Oh my god. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't around for I mean, I was here, but I don't remember Pasqualoni. I barely remember Marone. I wasn't here for McPherson. I obviously wasn't here for Schwartzwalder. I mean, McPherson, I guess you got to say historically is the best coach we've ever had, brought us to an undefeated season, a national championship game situation against Auburn. That's really special. That's really, really special. And football was at it, just as big back then. 1987 had some great seasons under McPherson. But yeah, I mean, in my heart, Dino Babers is the best coach we've had. Touch on how special of a coach it is. Touch on how special it is to have a coach that electric. It's everything, dude. He can he gets in touch with the fan base and the city, which not everyone can do. Not everyone has that touch and that feel, and he makes people believe. When his first opening press conference, he said, "Close your eyes. Visualize this. You're in the Carrier Dome. The house is filled. The feeling is electric. The noise is deafening. You have an offense that will not huddle. You have a defense that is relentless, and you have a special teams that is well coached. You know, Open your eyes. That's going to be reality. That's going to be Syracuse football. That's one of the most powerful things I've ever seen, to come out and say that. So I think it's everything to have a special coach with that much electricity. I think he's underrated right now. And I think it's a situation where, Dabo Sweeney came out of absolutely nowhere, had never head coached before, and brought Clemson to this elite program. You know, Clemson was a program that had a little bit of history. They were definitely in a slump. Syracuse, same situation. Lots of history, in a slump. Why can't Dino Babers do the same exact thing? Why can't he? I think he can, and I think Dino Babers is absolutely everything, and he's amazing, literally amazing. I think he's the best coach in the country. I wouldn't want anyone else at the helm of this football team. My favorite moment was when Gillen hit the buzzer beater against Duke. Yeah, what was okay? That was big. That might have to go on my list. That was awesome. I jumped up and down screaming. That was amazing. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. One of the only things like I've missed. So that was big. But I got to go with Clemson game still, man. Um, let's see. What is the first Cuse game you ever watched? Syracuse lacrosse when I was like 3. My grandparents, who are probably watching this right now, used to bring me all the time to Syracuse lacrosse games. So that was definitely the first one. I remember the first football game I went to was Syracuse versus Minnesota, and Minnesota beat us. I was like 5, and Minnesota beat us by a walk-off field goal. It was crazy. We lost. I remember that though. Okay, let's see. Favorite college team other than Syracuse? Arizona State, because I have family out there. I've gone to a game out there. It's really cool out in Tempe. It's really nice out in Arizona, and they're in the Pac-12, so we're never gonna like play them. So definitely Arizona State, but like it's like Syracuse and Arizona State, just to make that clear. Like I root for them. I wear, I have a bunch of Arizona State shirts and sweatshirts and stuff, but diehard Cuse fan right here. You know what I mean? Thoughts on Arizona State football? Good question. Herm Edwards, great coach. He's their new head coach. Program's going in a good direction. I'm excited to see what they're going to do this year. They have a beast of a running back, Benjamin, freshman quarterback. We'll see what happens. Go Sun Devils, fear the fork. But like I said, let's go Orange. All right, guys. I think might be time to wrap it up here. I mean, you guys don't really seem to be having anything else to say. I'll check my phone real quick and see if anybody's saying anything, you know, really intriguing here. I'll refresh the Twitter as well, see if anybody's got anything else. But I think it might be time to wrap this one up. Let's see. Let's see. Nothing. A few comments just saying like, good luck, go orange, stuff like that. But guys, I think that's the perfect way to wrap it up. Oh, someone said, what is your favorite theatrical moment you've ever experienced? Performing Newsies at the Landmark Theater for the Shisto Awards. It was absolutely incredible. We took home 4 awards. I was nominated for 2 individual awards. It was a great night. That was my favorite theatrical moment ever. Beautiful way to wrap it up. Next time let's keep it a little bit more Cuse. We did a pretty good job of keeping it Cuse, but DJ had to throw that in there at the end. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys being on. We're gonna do this again. Clearly there was good feedback here, so let's go orange, baby. Wow. How do I stop this? End stream. There we go.